Welcome to episode 58 of Podcast Beyond.
Beyond!
I am Chris Roper, host and editor-in-chief of the IGN PlayStation team. The whole crew's here. Jeff Haynes, what up?
Whoa.
Greg Miller, how's it going?
Good.
Ryan?
Also good.
Very good. I didn't even ask you. I just said your name. We're playing Simon Says here.
Yep.
You failed. Miserably.
Whatever.
You're off? No, you're
Already.
Damn it. That's so close.
But so far away.
I know.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Ooh. Let's get right into the Roper Report.
Time for some news.
So, if you don't already have a Bluetooth headset for your cell phone or the PS3 or whatever the hell, if you didn't buy it with Warhawk, you can now buy, not yet, but soon you can buy the official Sony headset. It looks like a rectangle.
It's supposed to be really good, though.
It's got a button on it. It says it's really
it's
good. It
supposed
has
to be
some
awesome.
crazy high quality mode. We'll
It's
see.
the SOCOM one, right? That they then decided was so good they wanted as the official.
So now it's like the standard official thing. So the detail is that it will be available with SOCOM on October 14th and then later by itself. Here's the stupid part. You can buy it with SOCOM. Comes in the package for $59.99.
Yeah, boy.
This is if you don't download SOCOM. You buy it in the store. It's $59.99. Or later, you can buy only the headset by itself for $49.99.
No, boy.
Which means you're turning down SOCOM for $10 if you don't buy it with that.
Don't
That
be
is
dumb.
stupid.
Which seems pretty stupid.
Don't be dumb.
The
That is
headset
really
should
stupid.
probably be $39.99 or less to make that not dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that
How
would
mu-
actually make it worth that would be whatever these super new features happen to be that they're not talking about. And even then,
Well,
that's
but
pretty
it's
expensive.
in all
In-game
it's the same thing,
status
though.
display?
Do we know how much they're gonna, how if I just downloaded SOCOM, how much am I paying for SOCOM?
Last time that we heard, it's gonna be the same thing. So who knows? That could change with
Weak
the
sauce.
with the bundle coming in there. We'll see
feeling
what
it.
happens. Let's see. Luminous Supernova is coming to the PlayStation Network this fall. Home beta invites are going out. Greg, you got invited.
Hell yeah.
That was by way of the
Theme.
the home theme that you can download for the PSN or for PlayStation. So be on the lookout for those. Check whatever email is tied to your PlayStation Underground account, I guess, or what, your login, all that kind of stuff. Resistance 2 Collector's Edition formally got announced. So last week we had a poll that you could vote on what of three favorite colors three favorite covers that we had up on the site. Everybody voted for the third one. It was a pretty big liking for the third cover of the other two.
And they can stop voting now.
They can stop voting. Please don't send
stop
any more
voting.
votes.
Your votes don't matter.
I know that votes I think are coming in from a French site still. Jeff, can you tell the French people not to vote anymore?
I will do that immediately.
Can you
No,
tell
but
them
you
in
speak French, right?
now?
Maintenant, pas d'email. Ce n'est pas bien. C'est très grave. Wait, what else do you want me to
it.
say?
All right.
Say Beyond.
Beyond.
There we go. Okay. I
Beyond.
think Jeff's French might be a little bit rusty, but there you go.
Well,
So-
I wasn't expecting you to just throw me that.
Yeah.
without-
Come
there you go.
on,
No-
Jeff.
no
This is
preparation.
Podcast Beyond.
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 So the collector's edition comes with a bunch of stuff. You can look on the site to see exactly what's in there if you want all the last details. But for $79.99, the game is going to be $59.99 normally. Collector's edition is $79.99. Comes in a giant black box with like the Resistance logo on the front. It has a Chimera figure inside. It's got one of the guns that are in there. It's like a little figure, not a full. We're not talking about a Gears of War 2 gun tie-in thing, but it's got a cool little gun in there. It's got a making of DVD. Digital comic, digital version of issue 0, I believe, of the Resistance comic, and some other cool stuff. And then also the cover for the game itself. The game's going to come in a regular, plastic, regular,
Blu-ray
holder.
disc.
Yeah, Blu-ray disc holder. But the collector's edition cover will be unique to that thing, so it'll be different than the other one, which is pretty cool. Mirror's Edge is announced to have exclusive downloadable content coming to the PS3, which is a turnaround.
Finally.
For what has been happening and other
Finally.
things, so it's pretty cool. PS3 owners will get some exclusive content. And lastly, Dead Space, fortunately for everyone, got moved up a week
Yay!
to October 14th. So now it is no longer competing with a bunch of other games. Now it's got a little more breathing room. Everybody can enjoy that game for the week until the next week when you pick up Little Big Planet and whatever else you get. So that's pretty cool.
Do it.
Everybody's happy about that. Jeff's happy about that, so that he doesn't have to review Bioshock and Dead Space on the same day. So
Both
that's
games
very
are
nice.
awesome.
Old Jeff would have done it.
Yeah.
I would have done it, but both games are still awesome.
Do we know anything that's coming to the PlayStation Store yet today?
No.
Very good. So, So we don't have any of that. Let's find out what's coming to retail shelves this week, though.
All right, we'll do that via the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors. Whoa.
I just took a really hot sip of hot chocolate.
You
Oh,
gotta boil
man,
on that
was
stuff,
burning.
man. You gotta let it sit.
Well, it's been sitting here since the beginning. I thought it was, oh, God.
It's really hurting you.
Getting some Tone Loc going on here.
Okay.
That
Funky Cole Medina?
Man.
All right, PS3 gets Facebreaker. Rapala Fishing Frenzy. NFL Head Coach 09, Vampire Rain, Altered Species.
Vampire Rain.
Mercenaries 2, PS2 gets Mercenaries 2, PSP gets Fading Shadows. I'm pretty sure I didn't have that on the list last week.
Yeah, that game's release date has been kind of
Moved all around.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on top of the
Very sketchy.
GameSpot or GameStop list right now. So.
Yeah. So those are all the games.
Yeah, that's it.
The pick has got to be going to Mercenaries.
Really?
What else is on there?
Vampire Rain, Altered Species.
Okay, if you don't want to play a
Vampire
crappy game, go ahead and get Mercenaries.
By the way, Vampire Rain's review should go live on Friday, and the install for it is 25 minutes.
Wow.
For Vampire Rain, Altered Species.
That's well worth it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
So-
poor
That is
Vampire Rain.
unbelievably horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is against the NDA that I've signed or whatever, but I'm playing Force Unleashed in the office, and the install for that's only a few minutes long.
Really?
It's not bad. Yeah. I didn't time it exactly, but I'm gonna say it's a maximum of 5 minutes.
And that's
Nice.
the last thing Chris Roper ever said before being killed by ninjas.
It's
Oh,
positive
he's
news.
alive.
It's a positive news from my end, so I don't think that LucasArts can be mad about that one. But so that's pretty cool. It wasn't too bad. Put it in there. Went and got a hot chocolate. Came back and it was pretty much
Not
finished.
Brian,
hot chocolate.
You
So-
do realize it wouldn't be ninjas, it would be Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Come
Sith.
on.
Come on.
This
now.
is Podcast Beyond.
Bring your A
A
game.
game.
You know what? The Jedi are
here
sort
we
of
go.
like Magic Ninja. So I'd say it works.
No.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Why
give
don't
him
you tell
I'm
that
gonna
to
give him a
George
buy on this one.
Lucas?
It's kind of, sort of.
You would. You've been too lenient on him since day one.
All right, I'll start being a little more harsh to Ryan.
You mean every time he's
Ryan,
effing
shut up.
fired
This
me?
kid is a wild horse, and you need to break him.
Ryan, go
He's
get
a
me
wild-
some more hot
times
chocolate.
I've been
wild
fired
mare.
at this job?
Not enough, obviously.
No,
Oh,
I'm still here.
man. All right, so it's the time of the show for trophy tips, or just the tip.
Tip of the week.
Do we have any tips this week?
Yes, totally do the Warhawk one. It turned out to be a gold trophy. We were debating if it was bronze or silver last week. If you do the dedicated server, it's a gold trophy. 4
Nice.
hours of your time.
I got to remember to bring in my
Watch regular
my thing
TV
tomorrow.
and let it go.
There you go.
Although I was talking to, or not talking, a listener had emailed us, crying and whining from Australia that they don't have internet fast enough apparently on that continent for him to be able to host a ranked dedicated server. So he thought it was unfair and that we should yell at Dylan. But
That is kind of a good point, though. If you're technically limited and you can't actually do one of the things, it seems a little shady. But
Yeah, but I mean, like they
You
can't
know.
take that into account. I mean, when they're looking, it's not like it's not
game.
that absurd of a trophy.
The game is
Yeah.
an
Like it's
online
well,
multiplayer
exactly.
game.
It's an online only game. You'd expect people to have decent connections.
and the thing too is, where trophies aren't worth anything technically. They're
Yeah.
just it's just bragging rights.
Optional
So
thing to get there.
yeah, you're not missing out on anything mandatory, or you're not missing out on cold hard cash. anything
I
of
have
that sort.
I actually have an internet question. Do we want to save that for later? Should
No,
we
let's
throw
hear it
in
right now.
Question of the
Here's
tip
my
of the
question. In the apartment that I'm moving into, there is only one incoming cable, like an actual outlet there for internet or whatever.
Yeah.
So my question is, I'm gonna get a modem and hook it up and all that stuff. But if I only have that one thing and I don't want to have Comcast or whoever install
get a
an
splitter.
entirely new
Yeah,
line,
buy a splitter.
but if I buy a splitter, doesn't that, if I'm using both at the same time,
No.
wouldn't that technically interfere with the connection?
Absolutely
No.
not.
If you split
I,
it like a million times, then you'd have to
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
worrying about weak signals.
I'm
Okay.
using a splitter in my
I,
apartment.
I have
too.
a splitter on mine. It's
No
fine.
problems?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, the biggest
to hear.
problem is more Comcast screwing everybody.
Yes,
and
I
I'll
saw
read
your
your
blog.
post, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, what the?
What's
Ser-
happening
dude,
here?
Did you hear about this? On
don't
October
know.
1st, here's my rant now, Greg.
Oh, the
you can time it for the
250 gig
minute.
limit?
On October 1st, yeah, the 250 gig limit, which is kind of retarded, especially if you consider downloading HD movies and doing any other internet like surfing, plus doing any gaming online or whatever else. I mean, if it is the 250 gig, but they're not telling you what that limit is, they're not giving you any heads up or anything like that. It's entirely possible for us to completely blow over it. And I know for a lot of you international listeners, that sounds like we're just Americans, we're bitching about something that we have absolutely no reason to because you have a lot smaller cap on your internet service right now. But the problem is that with a lot of the stuff that we wind up doing, like we're not being told any of this like pretty much up front, and we're not being told anything until we actually go over. And at that point, they're not actually saying that they're going to charge you. They just give you pretty much the one strike and you're out, which means if you go over it twice within a 6-month period, then they ban you for up to a year for your internet service.
No,
which is kind of retarded.
Here's the thing, though, is 250 gigs a month divided by 30 or 31 days gets you about 8 gigs a day. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's a lot of content for you to download.
How
Do I have
much
to worry about it if
but-
I just play Warhawk?
It is, but like
how
but the
much
thing
data
is
is
that
being streamed back and forth if you're playing a normal game like Warhawk?
It's not 8 gigs.
No, it's not 8 gigs. But the thing is that like say that you're going to download a couple of high def movies from like the PlayStation Store, or you're going to like take care of the Netflix on demand thing when the 360 winds up coming up, and you're only getting HD. You're not doing standard def because the standard def it was like 250.
So you're going to download a
250
5 gig
movies.
file a day. So if you watch a movie a day, so that there's over half of your bandwidth.
Potentially, depending upon what the movie is. Like if you're downloading a lot of internet movies, like high def movies.
Yeah, but you have to be doing more than one a day
Right.
on average for it.
Right.
I don't think it's a huge deal. I think it's, I don't know. I think
It seems a little sneaky, though. I don't know if limiting internet. I don't like the idea.
It just seemed like a big like pain in the ass if like literally they make that statement, and on the same day that they're making this whole thing about limiting your internet, every single every single radio commercial and commercials on TV are still touting, hey, we have unlimited internet access for one low price.
Well, you know what it is? It's because
seriously, people.
Comcast, I don't know if they changed this, but up until recently they had BitTorrent blocked basically, where it was super slow, and I mean 99% of stuff on there is pirated stuff, so that's fine.
Right.
But so now instead of blocking that anymore, I think they might have removed that. I don't know. I mean, I don't really use it, but so now they're introducing this bandwidth cap so that if all you do is run, stuff that's sharing BitTorrent stuff, then that's those are the people that they're targeting the punishment for,
right.
which is fine. I think that if you wanted to, ensure that you had more, more bandwidth or whatever available, you should be able to pay for it. They should give you an option, an extra $10 or $20 a month. You get unlimited or whatever, for the people that really want to download all kinds of crazy stuff. But
yeah, and that's kind of like more my issue is like instead of giving you the option to actually pay more or go, hey, I made it over $250, I'll pay you an extra $10 or whatever. They're just going, well, we'll just cut your thing off, and it's like, okay, then I should get money off my cable bill for doing this with my internet service.
Here's the thing, going back to Ryan's original question right fast about splitting the cable.
Yes.
If you do this, if the TV is near where the cable goes, I would, or in any case, I would recommend using as short a cables as possible once you split it. If you have say you had 200-foot cables that were laying around, I wouldn't use both of them.
Okay.
Because the more cable you have, the more signal degradation you're going to get. So use as short a cables as you can, but you'll be fine.
No, it's good to know. Yeah, I knew that I just knew that eventually the signal starts to weaken and you'll start to slow your connection down if you split it enough times. I just didn't know how many times you needed to split it in order to see a problem.
If you split it twice, maybe.
Yeah, that or if you
might
have
be
a spider, but you're not going to be trying to split the signal into multiple rooms.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're only doing it twice, it's fine.
Cool.
Just get wireless. Let's get on to topic of the week.
Topic of the week!
This week we're going to talk about some Fallout 3, but we're not going to talk about it amongst ourselves. No, we're going to go right to the source of the matter.
The source.
The source. That's weird. Anyway, we're
What was weird?
I
You
don't
did
know.
it also.
That freaked me out. Something happened right there. I was like, man, it's like Big Brother watching us or something, but not the show, like the bad. Anyway, so we're going right to one of the main voices over Bethesda. We're going to get Pete Hines on the phone here. Let's talk to Pete.
Let's do it.
No, Jeff, you've been banished to the Phantom Zone.
All right. So first off, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. Very much appreciated. I know we're all big fans of the game. I personally thought it was the best game by far at E3. I was kind of looking around and I'm like, this show isn't all that great. And then I played Fallout and I was like, man, this is clearly
Best E3 ever.
Clearly the best thing I've played all show. I love the fact that 30-minute demo, everybody that was in the same room did completely different things, and I'm a huge fan of those things, and I love the
and that was kind of our intention. We spent some time debating, like, what are we going to have people do? Like, how are we going to sort of show it off? And we talked about maybe setting up some stuff, or like, well, let's give them a quest, so they can do it however they want. But it's not what we really do. Is sort of force you to go here. You do this one thing. It's more about what do you want to do. Go do whatever you want. So we just felt like that would kind of show it off well, and I think it turned out well. That folks, did get to kind of go in a lot of different directions or try stuff, or spend your whole time talking to people or fighting or whatever.
Yeah. So when you actually get into the game and you want to, you have more than half an hour to play it, and you want to actually go and find quests and say you want to stick to the main story mode and kind of get through that, how do you figure out where you're supposed to go? Because from the beginning when we were playing, we didn't really know where we were supposed to go.
Well, yeah, and you guys obviously sort of skip the whole setup for the game. Like, you skip all of the background and story and who am I and how does this work and all that stuff. And even your impetus for leaving the vault is kind of stripped away from what you did at E3. So in the game, all of that makes much more sense. It's much more coherent, and it's presented to you like, here's the first thing you need to do is figure out where in the world did your dad go, what is he up to, and here's where you go to do that. And so we, I think, do a pretty good job of providing direction to you so that you constantly know where to go next, what to do next, if you want to move through the main quest, so that you kind of feel like you have the freedom to, I know where I need to go, but I'm going to go check out that building over there because that looks kind of cool, or, there's a robot fighting a scorpion over there. I'm going to go see what that's all about, and knowing that you can get back into that main quest and not be like, I totally forget what I'm supposed to do next or where I go. You press your Pip-Boy, you look at your quest screen like, oh, got it, press a button and it shows you this is where you're supposed to be going next, that whole thing. So I think once folks get into the game and play it, you'll see that, whether you wander off for 20 minutes or 5 hours, you can always get back into that main quest and know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing next.
How does the exploration of the whole world work in comparison to Oblivion? Because in there you had, you could ride horses or whatever, and how can you get around the wasteland quickly? I guess I'm saying.
I don't know how quickly you can do it. I mean, I guess it's sort of up to you, like how hell-bent on exploring every corner of the world are you versus, we do a good job of using the main quest and even some of the other random quests that you find in the world to take you out to different parts of the wasteland, and in doing that, run you by a lot of other locations. Like, I'm going to this place to do this quest, but on the way I passed 5 others. Like, ooh, I want to come back and check that out, or want to see what's going on there. So we do sort of send you off to the different corners, but it's really up to the player to decide, like, what is it you want to do? If you're doing the main quest and you want to take a break and go off to, on a beaten path, or, you come out of the vault and, like, I don't really care where my dad is. I want to go check stuff out and go get into trouble, and I don't want this pistol. I want a cool melee weapon, or I want a big gun. Go off and spend however much time you want doing whatever you want, and it's and you'll find and see plenty of stuff to do. So it really is about letting that player freeform explore, but give them the ability to not only get back into the main quest, but then also with the fast travel system, get back to where they want to be without constantly having to walk real time here, walk real time there. Like, you go load up on a bunch of loot, and then you fast travel back to Megaton or someplace you've been before. You sell it off, and you can fast travel right back to where you left off. So I think that does help folks in exploring without it getting too bogged down.
Pete, I think what Chris is trying to ask there, during my demo I saw a giant mutant ant. What Chris is trying to ask is, can I tame him like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and ride him around the wasteland?
You cannot. And the team did debate for a long time, because we knew Chris really wanted that, about whether or not we were going to put that feature in, and just felt like it was slightly off from the game that we were making. And so, no, there are no tameable, rideable ants. But I do want you to know that was a decision we really struggled with.
Leave it on the board for Fallout 4.
Yeah, that's right. That's the first thing up on the whiteboard for the next one we do, whenever that is.
Is there any way you can, like, have the ant attack the scorpion to also simulate that battle from the movie?
You know what? That actually can happen.
Oh, okay,
there you go. Maybe you that's your consolation prize.
Are you prepared to admit you're just ripping off the collective works of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise?
We are big fans of Rick Moranis and really trying to incorporate his stuff, his legacy into our games whenever possible. You guys are actually the first ones to point that out. We're surprised nobody has stumbled across that before now.
Cool.
Yeah, but you actually will find, like, creatures out in the world fighting with each other. It's one of the things I do. I get, like, a pack of dogs chasing me around, and I'll, like, go run by some mole rats, and they'll all start fighting each other, and I'll sort of wait till they sort it out between themselves and then kill whatever's left. So you will see different types of creatures and stuff fighting out in the world as you run around as well.
For people that never played, because there's going to be a lot of people that play this game that never played the original two, which I guess is a plug for this other thing. The first 2 games are now available, or soon to be, on what is it, Good Old Gaming. So that's pretty cool if you guys want to go check that out. But for people that have never actually played those games, is there anything that they would need to know coming into this, or is this sort of just a standalone by itself?
Yeah, we believe in making sure that the game does both. So we do this with the Elder Scrolls as well, which is you don't have to have played the previous Elder Scrolls games to understand what's going on in this world, what's going on in this game. You'll get it. But if you've played this series to this point, there's lots of stuff as it relates to the overarching story and, the sort of the canon and lore of the world, that there are things that you'll pick up on, references to stuff that you may get on a different level that somebody else gets. Like dog meat is maybe the best example of that. Like, it's a dog and it's named dog meat. If you didn't play the previous games, it works fine on that level. But if you played the original games, like, oh, cool, dog meat, just like the dog meat I had in Fallout 1, it ties back into the previous games in this series. So maybe you get a little bit more out of something than somebody else who hadn't.
There are talks of some crazy number of endings with the game. So last we heard it was 200 plus or something along that. How does all that work?
I mean, the way it works is that we want the ending to be customized for you and what you did. What we didn't want is you finish the game and then you either get generic good guy ending A or generic bad guy ending B or generic neutral guy ending C. But that's it. We wanted to take into account, and the previous games in the series do this as well, we wanted to take into account what are all the things that you did at various points in the game. And then taking all of those moments from your specific game and what you did and how you resolved things and incorporating that into the ending that you get so that it is more custom tailored for what you did as opposed to just a generic thing that's, good guy, bad guy, neutral guy. So it's more about that. And all of those various permutations end up resulting in a lot of different possible endings that you might get. But it's not like, 200 or 500 or 1,000 completely different endings to the game. It's more about flavor of what's that ending like and based on what it is you did and the choices you made in the game.
That's very cool, because I'm a big fan of the old Sid Meier stuff like Pirates, where it tell you become a banker or whatever at the end.
Right.
So I'm guessing it's sort of along those lines. What can you talk to us about the combat system a little bit, and if during the design process was it catered more towards the action or towards the VAT system, or is it always supposed to be equal, I guess, on both ends?
That's a good question. I mean, the goal was honestly that it could be one of three things. That it could either be you play the game entirely in real time, that you play the game entirely in VATS, or that you use any combination of the two. That it really had to work for all of the above. That if you just went out into the world and I'm in first person and I have a gun in my hand, I have an expectation for what that's going to feel like and play like. And so the first thing we worked on was probably that. Like, how does that work? How does the gun feel in your hand? All of that stuff, and sort of playing through all the different types of weapons and how did it feel and what was the feedback and did it feel intuitive? And then second was just constantly going back and fine-tuning VATS as far as how does it work? How do your action points play into that? Your character skills play into that? How fast do those action points come? Every little decision, like, do we charge you action points to reload your weapon or not? Do they come back really fast or really slow? And just playing it, like, change the settings to this. Okay, now everybody play it. And what do we think? Okay, now change the settings to this. And now everybody play it. And just really trying to get a sweet spot for however anybody wanted to play, that it felt balanced and appropriate, and you couldn't. You're not uber powerful because of VATS, because you can't use it constantly. You have to wait for those action points to come back. But you can still play the game using almost entirely VATS if you want to. You can play the game entirely in real time, or what most folks do, which is a mix. You get an easier enemy, you just sort of bang bang kill it and move on. But it's there for you when you get into really crazy battles or fight some tougher creatures, and it becomes critically important to, I got to cripple this guy's legs so that I can keep him away from me, or cripple his arm to make him drop his weapon, or whatever the case may be.
Pete, I'm curious to know if a player does choose to go one way or the other entirely, either in entirely real time or using the VAT system. Are they going to be rewarded one way or the other? Like, is there any sort of experience difference, or is one player's character going to be stronger at the end of the game?
Yeah, there's no. I mean, a dead creature is a dead creature. It's worth the exact same number of experience points. We don't really care how you decide to kill it, and we didn't want. I guess if there was an advantage, the advantage would be that in using VATS, your character is able to be more precise and to pull off a number of shots that in real time you wouldn't be able to necessarily do. That
Okay.
if you walk into a room and there's, a door north, south, east, and west, and 4 guys walk in, that in VATS mode, you do have the ability to bang, 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 try and shoot each of them in the head really quickly one time. In real time, you could never pull off that same kind of move in that amount of time. That we do give you a bit of a time fudge factor when you use VATS, and as a result, it is a bit more powerful than it is in real time. And that's why we had to balance, like, how fast do those action points come back? How often are we letting you use this mode? Because it does let you do some stuff that maybe in real time you wouldn't necessarily to do. So I think that's where the advantage comes in, is using VATS does have that sort of time boost in a sense.
Okay, cool.
But it doesn't change your experience in terms of you get more experience points now, or you get something else because we want the player to be able to decide, this is how I want to play the game. And yes, I appreciate I could play it in real time, or yes, I appreciate I could use VATS, but I don't want to. There's not a penalty for one of those.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I know by now that most everybody should have either seen or heard about the original 45-minute demo you guys gave a couple of E3s ago, where Megaton gets nuked at the end, and that brings up a very good thing, or a very good point of that you can be incredibly evil in this game. Obviously you could also be very good. How can you talk about the difference between playing as good or evil and things that are rewarded to you for doing either way?
I think Megaton is probably the most extreme example of that, obviously. It also works really well visually, so it's kind of a fun one to show off. But the rest of the game is centered around your interaction with individuals and how they respond based on the way that you treat them. So, a couple examples, like even recently at PAX, and I saw some of this at E3 that people did that kind of highlight some of it, is like when you first get into town and you talk to Lucas Sims. Like, if you're a really nice guy, then he kind of welcomes you to the town, and he sort of heads down a track of maybe confiding in you, maybe looking to get you to help him with this unexploded bomb. If you're a real jerk and you continue to be a jerk and push your luck, you can actually start combat. I want that hat, I'm going to kill you and take it, and then you're off, and you and Lucas Sims are Wild West style duking it out in Megaton. So, how you get to those 2 points is based on, what kind of person are you trying to be in this world? Are you trying to be a nice guy? Are you trying to be a evil guy? Are you being neutral? And, one of the options I like when you talk to Lucas Sims is you can just stand there and choose say nothing every time he asks you a question. Likewise, there's a kid that's not too far outside of Megaton named Brian Wilkes, who will come up to you at some point as you're in certain parts of the game. He'll come running up to you and tell you about some creatures that have attacked where he lives, and he can't find his dad, and can you please help him? And again, if you're a nice guy, or even if you're just even not a total jerk to him, he'll kind of explain what's going on and that he needs help, and can you please help him? And he's got nothing, and he's got nobody. Please find my papa. If you're a real jerk to him, he basically is like, screw you. I hope the creatures get you too, and leaves. Like, you don't even get the quest to go find his dad. You acted like a jerk to him, so he's not even going to bother giving you the quest. So, it does. We do try and make it so that if you're playing a certain type of character, that the response that you get from individuals feels appropriate to the way you're trying to play the game. Even if you're just kind of testing, like, I wonder what happens if I pick this dialogue option. There's a new sheriff in town. Like, letting the player kind of explore that and figure out how the game responds, and hopefully in each of those cases, it's satisfying. And certainly in the case of somebody who's trying to be really evil and blows up Megaton just to see what happens, like, yeah, you really blew up the town. It's entirely gone. It's a big smoking radiated crater. All those people are gone. Like, it's all over.
It's a good day.
It works. Hopefully it works like that on a variety of levels, and not just when you blow up Megaton.
Well, I do have a kind of more technical question. I'm wondering, I'm a big junkie for games that offer some sort of reward for going back and replaying, and I just don't know off the top of my head, is there going to be like any sort of New Game Plus option, or any way you can carry your data over to the next time you want to play through to get reap the benefits of your previous playtime?
Oh, you mean like I went through and played the game and finished it with this guy, and I want to restart it, so now I get some boost at the... at the start of my
Yeah,
next time
exactly. Is that, I mean, did you guys consider that at all, or what's?
You know what? We really didn't, because the start of the game is you being born in the world.
Oh, okay.
When you start a new game, you witness yourself being born. So it didn't really feel like you should be carrying anything over from one playthrough when the whole game is centered around you being born and growing up in the vault and then heading out. Why would you have any bonus? Now,
You could
if
just be born
if you're playing
really
through
strong.
a second time, you can skip all that stuff. You can actually go to a save game right before you leave the vault. We give you an opportunity, much like we did in Oblivion, where we say, here's all the choices you made, here's the character you've created. If you want to change any of this, go ahead and do it now before you head out, because you're not going to be able to change it again. So you can go back and load that save game up and just click on the door, make whatever changes you wanted to the character you want to play this time, and then go off and start all over again.
Cool.
But there's no carryover from one game to the next. There is the sense of if you want to get to everything, you'd have to play through it more than once. Like even for stuff like achievements, you can't get all the achievements on one playthrough. You'd actually have to go through and play as different types of characters, really good guy, really neutral guy, really evil guy, in order to get and unlock all the achievements.
Cool.
Very cool, man. So to wrap this up, we don't want to take your time all day. Can you give us a little pitch about when the game's coming out and what systems we're going to see it on and all that jazz?
Sure. Fallout 3 is coming to Xbox 360, Games for Windows Live, and PlayStation 3 on October 28th. It will be in stores, on shelves. Reserve your copy today.
Very good. One last bit of info for PS3 gamers specifically. Are we going to see a trophy support in the game?
It's not something that we'll have at launch. That's not a no. It's just a not. It's a not right away. It wasn't something that we were trying to finish the game, and it just wasn't something we'd incorporate from the outset. But it is something we are hopeful to be able to get in there at some point. But I wouldn't want to sort of commit or comment on it beyond that until we have more of a chance to get to that.
Very good, man. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, that's very good. Well, thanks a lot for your time, man. Very much appreciated.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, man. Take care.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All right, well, that was great. There was hopefully everything that you wanted to know about Fallout. We got a bunch of questions.
Right. Thank you very much to Pete and his time.
There you go. Yes,
Hold
thank
on,
you
we
very
gotta
much,
let
Pete.
Jeff out of the Phantom Zone.
There we go. Jeff's
There
back.
he's back. Welcome
There we
back.
go. Now that brings us
I hate
to the
that
next
thing.
segment of the week. Of course, it's time for Reader Mail.
Mail call!
Jay Maelstrom. Mel Mel.
That's just malarkey.
Beyond Mail. Let's start with Ryan. Your choice: emails or board questions.
Ooh, good question.
Nice.
Well, the board members are always being preferred, so maybe we should go with emails first.
Let's
this
go
time.
with emails first.
Yeah.
I think here's. I don't want to jump on anybody on email, but I think the board people generally give us better questions than the emails do.
Owned,
So-
be owned.
They are
Ooh.
paying IGN members.
Well, they're the people that are more interested, I think, and are reading up more. So maybe they have a little bit better questions.
Yes.
I'm not saying there's no good email questions, but
Quick shout out, I wanted to say that I did have a Podcast Beyond listener come up
Yep.
to me in home. I was sitting
Ooh.
there talking to somebody else, and they just ran up to me and yelled Beyond.
very good.
He said, then you have to mention me on the podcast, but I forgot his name. So I'm just mentioning the fact that that one kid
That guy
did something.
did it.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
But he'll never be able to prove it because
No.
you don't know his
Well,
name.
I really don't care.
He'll know.
Oh.
That's
Well,
right, I
maybe
said
he'll
it.
find you again, and you
He'll
remember that you
know.
mentioned him on another
Okay.
show. Or
Also, I
something.
want to reiterate, this is a personal Greg Miller thing that I only accept SingStar friend requests from random strangers online. So everyone else, stop sending me friend requests. It's getting a bit ridiculous. Thank you.
There you go.
Especially when you claim to be a Podcast Beyond fan, and you don't know that I only accept SingStars. And I check the SingStars too, so don't try tricking me.
This has been a public service announcement from Greg Miller.
Thank you.
Our first email comes from Spartan1212, Spartan1212.
Didn't he send like 4 emails?
Oh, I think this is the only one I'm reading from.
Okay.
It says, do you think Africa will ever make its way over to the U.S., or will PS3 owners be forced to import it from Japan?
Or
Japan.
Africa?
Seems to me like it would.
Yeah, there's
I'm
been a
gonna
lot of
guess
buzz
that it
about
will.
that game since forever.
I'm going to guess that it will. So, no
As long
official
as it's not
statement.
retitled Hakuna Matata.
There you go.
Ooh.
That would actually be pretty cool.
I'm
What
just
if it's
saying.
called Africa, Hakuna Matata? That would be rad.
That'd be copyright
Considering that
infringement
they've
right
already
there.
changed it in, what was it, South Korea or something like that, to Hakuna Matata?
Well, there we go. Michael writes in and says, as someone who is on the cusp of making the jump from PS2 to PS3,
Yay.
he's excited to hear about the upcoming 160 gig bundle. However, he's disappointed to see that they have completely removed backwards compatibility, leaving no further option for the future. He doesn't understand why Sony would take such an appealing aspect of the system, take it away such an appealing aspect when they promised it from the beginning.
Yeah, I still don't know either.
Well, so now this is a two-part thing. I know the first part of this and the second part. is confusing to me. So the first part is that when the 60 and the 20 came out originally, the OG systems, they had actual PS2 chip in there. And, you know, they had the Emotion Engine or whatever hell you want to call it. And then that, you know, ran the games natively. So, you know, that's why 99.9% of stuff worked fine. Everything was great. Then the 40s came out, or the 80s, whichever one was next. And that introduced the software stuff. And that's what they were running for a while. And so I don't know why that there's just no backwards compatibility at all if they don't want to do software. It seems stupid to me.
I think part of the reason why they were cutting out the chips was because of the manufacturing and the cost.
Yeah, I mean they're losing a bunch of money on it. So I understand the chips going away.
Now it's more the paying the
software
engineers to like make the software like compatible and do the work hours to make sure that every idiosyncrasy is worked out. I don't think they want to do that.
Yeah, but it was already in there.
I know it was already in there, but I think it's just probably one of those internal marketing things.
The PS2's dead.
Yeah.
Do you think it's actually because they don't want people to have backwards compatibility because they just want to keep selling PS2s as long as possible?
Or they're waiting for the day where they can roll out PS2 sales on the PlayStation Network. Ooh, make you buy your games again. Mm-hmm. That's the conspiracy theory right there.
Yeah, I'm itching to play Madden 2001.
It was going to happen.
Dan Savage writes in and says, "Hey, Beyond Crow, I was wondering, since you've had your hands-on experience with Fallout 3, if you could tell me if the analog stick controls are the same as Oblivion, a.k.a. opposite of all FPSs. I'm losing this one here. Where the left stick operates the camera and the right stick operates your movement. I've never had that happen to me in Oblivion, and it certainly isn't the case in Fallout. I guess maybe there's the option to reverse them, to go southpaw. You can do that in Halo. There probably is a southpaw option. Maybe there isn't, but
you can do it in Warhawk. Maybe he was playing Warhawk.
I don't know. But by default,
Oblivion game
it works
great.
like everything else, where left stick moves you and right stick looks. So go check your settings, dude. Jeff writes in, not you, Jeff, different Jeff, with a Yahoo email address.
Yahoo!
So I don't know if you have one, but anyway,
no.
This guy does. He says, the updated main page for Burnout Paradise says that the bikes update will add 9 to 10 hours of additional gameplay. I was told 15, but, you know. Does this mean that bikes will have a separate license or just unique challenges? Also, he's sure public outcry has been wondering, is there any chance of a retry button will be added to future updates? As far as the retry thing goes, nobody's told me anything about that whatsoever. They still are very proud of the fact that you never load anything when you're playing Burnout. A retry option would get rid of that. It's certainly not in the bike update unless they add it the last second or just holding it back. But it certainly wasn't there when I played it. As far as the actual content goes, you do have a new license for the bikes. They start you over because otherwise it would be kind of confusing to tie the stuff in there, or you'd have everything unlocked if you were to beat the game. So there's a separate license for bikes. They do have their own unique challenges, so the answer is both of those are correct. There are a separate license and there is unique challenges. There's also unique free burn challenges online for those. So there's lots of stuff to do with the bikes. It's very cool from what I've played so far. We should be seeing it very soon, so go ahead and download that, especially since it's free. The next one comes from Vidu. I'm hoping I'm saying his name remotely correctly.
Sounds like a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
V2.
Quado. Says, hey guys, I'm a fan of online RPGs such as World of Warcraft. He's wondering if there was any online RPG similar to something like World of Warcraft coming out on the PS3. Your best bet to me, unless I'm forgetting something, would be DC Universe Online. Mm-hmm. Which, Greg, what's the estimated release date for that now?
They refuse to tell me. I've tried multiple people. I've tried catching them off guard, and I always started with off the record, which I wouldn't tell on Beyond, obviously. Just tell me as a fan, so I would know. They refuse to say anything. Which I was talking to Sam, in-house freelancer at large here at IGN, who we love.
Sam Bishop.
And we were talking about it, and we're both looking forward to the game and think it has a lot of potential, and we're both happy with that decision because we don't want to see it be one of these things where they get anchored to a date and then feel like they have to push out a product that's not ready. Yeah. So. No release date word on it whatsoever.
Is the agency going to be PS3 as well, or is that
That is also PS3. So there's a different one. Now, the thing that is kind of interesting to me about these MMOs is, so you look at somebody like the original EverQuest 2 to some extent, World of Warcraft certainly, people are playing these games for years. Mm-hmm. So if somebody comes out with a PS4, it would have to hopefully work with the game somehow, or else you're still going to have your PS3 in order to go play this game all the time. Because these people are hardcore, play every day, or at least a couple times a week, so you're going to have both systems hooked up. So I'm hoping that somehow the game will be able to work on the PS4 when that eventually gets released.
Well,
so
Sony's track with backwards compatibility is Well, remember, the PlayStation 3 has a 10-year life cycle, and firmware means it can get updated and do whatever it needs to do.
So the PS3 will get updated through firmware to the PS4.
Yep.
Wow.
Salvador
Megaton
writes in and says, Do you guys know if BioShock is going to have trophies?
Yes.
Good.
There you go. It will. It's
Just
all
played
over the
it.
site.
Just unlocked a couple.
Very good. Let me keep flipping here.
Jeff, I unlocked the trophies.
Let's move on.
I'm Ryan. I make music. Doodly-doo.
Let's go to the board questions.
Board call.
WKD,
Chairman of the board.
WKD Injection says, is there any chance in hell of Fable 2 being released on the PS3? Hell no. It's being published by Microsoft, so no.
Wah, wah.
Sad though, because the game looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Pyromaniac says, answer me this, crackheads. When is Suikoden 6 going to be announced? I don't see any crackheads in the room.
When is what going to be announced?
Suikoden 6,
Well,
but
Ryan,
I don't. Ryan's not a crackhead. Let's move on.
Oh.
Origin game. No. Do you know when it's going to be announced?
No, I meant
there you
I
go.
am a crackhead.
Oh, Ryan. Okay, Ryan's a crackhead, but he doesn't know the answer.
Yeah.
Argent Gamer 123 writes in and says, since Greg and I are both married,
Yeah.
he poses a question, not to each other. We have
Hey Jeff, aren't you married too?
I am
Jeff
married.
is also married.
You know, I just have that ring on my finger.
When
But
I was
hey.
reading this beforehand, I was like, something seems weird about this. I'm like, what is? Oh, yeah, I'm like,
What's
oh, yeah.
missing?
Jeff's also married. So 3 of us are married, and he wants to know is do our partners, and we all have wives. We're not. Anyway, it says, do they mind us playing super violent games, and what kind of games, if any, do they play? Jeff, since you were forgotten in this one, do you want to kick it off?
No, she doesn't mind if I play. I think the thing that she does mind is if I wind up throwing controllers.
Yep.
Or cursing large strings of profanities for a couple minutes because of something that happened within the game that I'm completely frustrated by.
We've all done that in the office, for sure.
Yeah, that's what she minds more, but it's not like a all the time thing. It's more when it just becomes an invective string that lasts for about a minute or two. Outside of that, she's into strategy games, she's into Sims, she's into puzzle games, things like that.
Greg?
Yeah, Katie doesn't mind me playing violent games. She watches. She was a big GTA fan. She would sit there and watch that for the story with me. Also, very much hates me cursing. When I was playing Uncharted on Crushing, there was one night where she's like, "If you're gonna do this, I'm not. You can't do this while I'm home," because I was just screaming at the TV when I was getting screwed over by pirates. She's a huge DS gamer. She's plays those My Sims games and those kind of things. She likes old school stuff too. She's a big Galaga fan. I still need to get to EB to get a card so I can download Galaga Legions on Xbox, but she'll like that probably. And that's her story.
My wife also hates me cussing.
Yeah.
Seems to be a common thread between people.
Well, it's because it's not like I'm sure like my wife's finding the occasional F word under my breath. It's something going on or what the F, but
getting mad and
when it's like what the man, I'm screaming and I'm throwing, kicking the dog.
Seeing you distressed upsets her.
No, I think it's just me screaming.
Oh, okay.
My wife and I play. My wife plays World of Warcraft by herself. Occasionally, she's kind of in and out when new content comes out. But other than that, the two of us will play co-op friendly games like Lego Star Wars and Lego Indiana Jones, and we just played through Castle Crashers. Finished that last night. So that was
You
pretty
enjoy
fun.
that?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It's got a great ending. If you haven't beaten that game yet, do so. The ending is amazing.
I have to download that.
My favorite animal is in there.
Oh,
and
man.
then that's you see what it is. And then the thing about super violent games, she doesn't mind violent games at all. What's pretty funny though is the whole time I was playing Grand Theft Auto 4, I'd be in a car and the radio station would be on, and there'd be some guy there talking about prison rape or something terrible. And she would just look at me and go, "What?" And I would look at her and just shake my head.
Yeah.
And then she would just go back to whatever she was doing. And this would happen every 10 minutes during the whole game, and it was super funny.
Yeah, I've had the same thing. And I think like part of it isn't necessarily the whole thing about cursing per se, because God knows I curse like a sailor, but it's more exactly how it winds up being expressed.
Yeah.
Or same thing with like the content from like GTA. It's more the off-color use and how spirited it happens to be that winds up being the thing that kind of turns the page.
I will also say my wife and I started playing Rock Band, and then our daughter was born,
Yeah.
and then silence was required and no more singing.
No, that's the thing. Me and Katie do play Rock Band every weekend. Just about.
Yeah, so do I.
Simmer8596 writes in, he says he's never really played an RPG game ever before.
Oh, wow.
And he wants to try one out on the PSP. Could somebody recommend some good starter RPGs on the PSP?
Patapon.
Patapon? Yeah, well, like, here's the thing. A lot of the RPGs that we would probably bring up would be like hybrid RPGs. So you'd have something like Final Fantasy Tactics, Disgaea, Patapon,
Crisis Core.
Things like that.
That's a prologue, though. So
yeah, but it's kind of like things where they're like RPGs, but there's a hybrid of something else that's been tossed in with it.
Which is the best way to get introduced to it,
Yeah.
I think. So you get used to half the mechanics, then you go in full, and then you get used to the other half. It's probably pretty good.
What would be the best intro RPG for the PSP? Because Tactics is pretty. I mean, it has a very involved storyline, but the gameplay is pretty straightforward.
Jeanne d'Arc might be one.
Oh yeah,
That was a good one.
There you go. So
And that's another strategy. And you can download that from the PSN if you need. You don't want to check that in UMD.
I didn't know that they put that up there.
Oh, yeah.
That was last week, I believe.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Or 2 weeks ago, but either way.
It's up.
I was
It's
in
up.
Germany.
PSN.
That's why.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
you were.
Oh, how convenient.
Drinking beer. Going
Ashadello
nuts.
or A Shade Low, however you want to pronounce it, has our final 2 questions for the day.
Wow.
His first one, by chance, I didn't even realize this until I'm looking through it now. His first one is Street Fighter 2 HD. I believe the full title is Super Street Fighter 2
Turbo HD Remix.
HD Remix. Coming in 2008. Who the hell knows? It was supposed to be out a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Nobody's saying anything. We would hope so. I'm going to guess that it will, but who knows?
Final question of Reader Mail.
Also from Ashadelo, whatever. It's almost 1 a.m. Thursday morning the 4th. So he wrote this not too long ago. I guess about 12 hours ago. I beat Shadow of the Colossus for the first time just then. He almost cried a few times during the ending. Be honest, did any of us cry? And is Eco this good? Has everybody in this room beaten Shadow of the Colossus?
I have not.
Yes.
I've seen it beaten. I didn't though. I wasn't playing at the time.
You have to go beat that game.
Okay.
That's your goal for this weekend, is to play through and beat
It's
Shadow
a really
of the Colossus.
crowded weekend, though.
All right, next weekend.
Okay.
That's mandatory playing there for any PlayStation person. If anybody listening to this has not played through Shadow of the Colossus, go buy the game, and
It's an excellent game.
it's easily one of my top 5 games of all time.
I didn't cry, but then again, I'm a hard bastard, so
It's true.
like,
Yeah.
I went stab
It takes
Jeff.
a lot.
He didn't even care.
Yeah,
He didn't
I
notice
it takes a
3
lot
days
to
later.
actually make me tear up.
I'll tell you, I did get very, very sad at the end, though.
You do get sad, but I didn't tear up at all.
And as far as Eco being that good, I haven't played Eco since after I played Shadow of the Colossus, and that game came out 2 years ago or whatever. So
yeah, I haven't revisited it.
I remember from beforehand that I thought Eco was absolutely amazing. So I don't know if it's going to be as good, but it would at least be close.
See, I think
it's definitely, absolutely, no question, worth playing.
I think Shadow might be a little bit better than Eco, and I love Eco, but I think Shadow might be a little bit better than Eco.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's their second game, makes more sense, it's got more stuff to it. Yeah. But Eco is an absolutely stunning game. Play that if you have not. Also, if you can only play one of the two, Shadow is probably the better one to play. It looks better, it's more up to date and all that kind of stuff. But definitely also play Eco. It's absolutely fantastic. That is the end of Reader Mail for the day. Mail's been delivered.
Mail's been delivered.
Ryan, tournament winners for the week?
Yes, Beast wrote in, and they're going back to their individual challenges and holding off on the World War III stuff until new games are released. So,
you can't hold off on a war. You either
Well,
go all the way or you forget it.
They
Call
are.
the truce.
Beast let me know that the most recent IGN PS3 Community Challenge winner, or PS3 IGN Community Challenge winner, was, I would go with Il Paisa. How would you say that? Il Paisa.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak.
With a game of Warhawk with the Operation Fallen Star upgrade booster pack, which Mediabase Mike and I tried recently, and it was a real lot of fun to fly around in those jetpacks.
You just brought up an announcement we have to make on the show for hardcore listeners.
Oh, yes.
Database Mike is that
no longer.
persona is dead. He is now
Database
known in the interim as Mediabase Mike, soon to be Media Mike.
Is he media basing? Are we going to have an intervention?
We're not going to bother to describe his actual position because
his role.
Because nobody
is.
really told. It was funnier not knowing what Database Mike meant. But he's slowly transitioning like
a butterfly.
Like a butterfly into he's right now he's inside of the cocoon right now as Mediabase Mike. He's transforming, if you will. Soon he'll spread his wings and be nothing more than
from larva
his
to
ultimate
pupa.
form of Media
His
Mike.
ultimate form. He'll never go up in position again.
No, I mean, you go on a few more seasons and all of a sudden they'll have the ultimate form.
Oh, I
They'll
see.
reach the next level.
Like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, his hair will get bigger and more
And
yellow.
gold.
I'll start
Yeah.
wearing jumpsuits every day.
Exactly.
Oh God.
PSN hit of the week.
Hit of the week!
So we're not going to explain why. Maybe if people have been watching this, we're not going to get into details of this. We are no longer going to do Hit of the Week for someone other than the people that have requested themselves. Just to be kind of careful to make sure that, people aren't lying about why they want somebody to be hit or whatever.
I won't go into details either, but hardcore listeners will know I was right.
Yeah. Okay. So if you go back and listen, probably
last episode.
Yeah, last episode.
I mean,
something was a little weird about that.
Yes. I should also clarify. Hit of the Week is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be it's supposed to be all good and good fun, just like finding the person saying Beyond and
that's what we're bringing it back to Hit of the Week. I have a pretty good one for Hit of the Week, even though this is just because I just want to see what happens with this one.
Okay.
I think Ryan should be Hit of the Week.
Okay.
Wow.
Not a bad one.
All right, Ryan. I don't remember your thing.
It's all one word. 7 spelled out. Winters.
There you go.
With no apostrophe. It's just
7 winters. Ryan is Hit of the Week. This way we can see firsthand what kind of craziness he gets. So add Ryan 7 winters. Beyond Him to Death. Obviously he already knows what that's going to mean. That's no surprise to him. But we kind of want to see what happens on our own.
Jeff's going to do it.
Ryan Clements. You've just been hit.
By myself.
PSN hit confirmed.
Yeah, Ryan, hit yourself.
Self PSN hit confirmed.
There you go. All right, Ryan.
PSN hit also confirmed.
Should we just make this a 4-way hit? Everybody be hits?
No, because then it'll dilute the base. We don't know how many people actually responded.
Ryan is the Hit of the Week.
It's going to be a disaster. I'm not even going to have internet access to this weekend because of the move.
But you'll get it at work. That's fine.
Yeah,
it'll be okay. That's fine. We should try to get some celebrities to be Hit of the Week.
Okay.
We should
figure out who they are.
Brad Pitt. Find out Brad Pitt's PSN.
There we go. That'd be awesome.
PlayStation Pit.
Get some Snoop Dogg hit.
Hey.
PS Pit.
Smelly Pit.
Yep.
That's what I call myself. Armpit.
And then the
Pit
show
stay.
died.
Pit stop.
There was
Pitbull.
one question that we got that I can quickly answer.
Yeah.
As just a quick aside, we haven't seen Tomb Raider on PS3, so I know that you've been asking. We don't know. We have no idea what it looks like. We have
You've
no
only
idea.
seen it on 360?
We've only seen it on 360. That's all they've ever been showing it on. That's all they will even talk about. So
I saw it on PS3.
PS3.
They didn't. All right,
No,
so,
you didn't, bastard.
To clarify here for anybody that's listening. And by the way, before I forget this, if you want to send in questions, write to beyond@ign.com.
Or check the boards.
Here's the deal, though, that people write in and say, how is the PS3 version of such game looking? Now, here's the deal. Is a lot of times, if you have, a cross-platform game coming out on 360 and PS3 and PC or whatever, the company will basically show the same version over and over and over again. And there may be a special time when they, a few weeks or a month ago, whatever it was, Saints Row 2 was shown to us on PS3. Mm-hmm. And it was specifically, so here's the PS3 build of it. A lot of times, though, we only see one version of a game leading up to whatever, and that's all we probably will ever see until basically the game's pretty much done. So, in Tomb Raider's case, we'll probably only ever see 360 until the very end, and they actually send us the PS3 preview code. So, a lot of times people write in and they say, tell us about what the PS3 version looks like. We don't know.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it, and people just tell us the same, and then we find out when we get the preview code, and we're like, okay, yeah, they're right, it's pretty much the same, or, it looks worse or better,
Right, that's
else.
usually also why when we do certain articles, like the Homecoming article, I specifically mentioned it was the PS3 build, because it was the PS3 build. We haven't seen the 360 build, with the exception of certain events. So the fact that they actually went out of their way to get us the PS3 build was one of those things that you definitely want to point out to people.
There you go. That, I think, unless anybody else has anything else they want to talk about.
Eder beat then.
The NCAA tournament.
You don't even care anymore.
No, I do.
You won't keep Brian in check. You won't go off the profiles or this thing.
It was on the list, and then
you burned yourself with hot chocolate.
I burnt. That's the problem. I burned myself with hot chocolate.
We just finished up week 6. Everyone won, except of course that we finally had a player versus player match in the Big 12. Sham Deluxe's K-State took on Sticks and Picks Texas Tech. Sham kicked the Sticks and Picks out of Sticks and Picks. It was 28-7. This week, it's Mizzou, number 3 in the country, versus Oklahoma State. Sticks and Picks, unrated Texas Tech versus number 23 Nebraska. Jeff's Oklahoma Sooners, number 10 in the country, versus number 4 Texas. And Rolls-Royce, horrible number 9 KU against Colorado. And then Sham Deluxe, number 21 versus Texas A&M. Big week.
It's funny when you give these breakdowns because I don't know what you're saying.
Giga Maggie.
Just like when you talk about anime
and anything Japanese.
Yeah.
And
Beyond.
Beyond.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the show.
Yeah.
Anything else? You look like you're about to say something.
If anybody has Vampire Rain, I need to play a multiplayer game with you. Please send me a PSN message. No one is playing Vampire Rain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you don't want to do this, but people don't have SingStar. They want to be your friend.
Yeah.
If you can actually play them Vampire Rain, Greg will add you to his friends list.
There you go.
That sounds like a fair trade to me.
Sounds like a good trade to me.
There you go. All right, so if you want to be on Greg's thing, go buy Vampire Rain.
Yeah, but you need to play me tomorrow because I'm reviewing it tomorrow.
Yeah, so play him in the morning so he has time to write it.
There you go.
That brings us to the end of the show. Greg, I've heard rumors that you have a special song for this week.
I do, and I think I'm audibling at the line. But the deal is that the other day Ryan was feeling down or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, and I sang a song to him.
Busy.
I made up an improv song right there on the spot, and Ryan
And it was fantastic.
Ryan said, "It was great, man. You really dig it." And you're like, "You are the cat's meow." And I was like, "Thank you, little one. Let's rock this out on Beyond."
Little one.
And he said, "Totally, let's sing it on Beyond." And then I said, "All right, well, you remember it because I won't." And he said, "I will." And then we both immediately forgot the song.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
Tribute by Tenacious
That's what
D.
I was thinking too, right? However, while I was sitting here, I was thinking that, a couple weeks ago we ran some original podcast music, and that got me thinking of that one kid who was working on podcasts Beyond the Musical, Beyond the Music, Beyond, whatever it's called.
Beyond!
We haven't heard an update on that in quite some time.
No.
So we're going to get the juices flowing. Ryan and I are about to improv a podcast Beyond Musical song.
Uh-oh.
So this is completely off the cuff.
Uh-oh.
We're going to do it in melodically and stuff.
What kind?
What
can
key?
we at least say what kind of song? Like what we're singing
Yeah,
about?
you should coordinate how the song's going to start in the beginning and then take it from there.
This is the first song following up. Remember, the original one was about us coming to work and how it was another beautiful day in Brisbane. Wow! So this is me walking to the office. Ryan's at his desk.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom. Hey there, Ryan, I heard you got sick. What's going on with your...
I don't know, Greg. There's so much work to do, and Roper won't leave me alone. What do you recommend?
Pea and Roper's hot chocolate make him very mad. I really get mad. Mad, bad, sad.
Well, Greg, I can't do that. That would have me fired and I'd leave and then I wouldn't get paid for my PS3 game. So what would you recommend as well?
Rub your balls on Jeff's keyboard. I do it all the time and he never knows at all.
Damn you!
Wait! Jeff's on fire! I wonder if the next song we'll talk about this next week. Scene.
Oh no, Jeff's on fire.
The scene is over.
Oh.
Holy